Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Javier with The Real Javier Novoa, a channel, a modality, and a platform where we apply the principles of philosophy, spirituality, and mysticism to rapid lifestyle transformation. Today I have a big video, ladies and gentlemen, about creation, the law of assumption, and applying this to rapid lifestyle transformation. I had a question from a subscriber, a very interesting email, where he asked me about the fact that many, of course, business coaches and many teachers talk about the fact that we have to get out of our comfort zone in order to experience growth and so on and so forth, in order to get to what we want. We have to do things that scare us, and we have to come out and shake up our comfort zone, and we have to do that frequently. Because, as Peter Drucker said, we cannot continue to do the things that we've done before and expect different results than we've gotten before. And of course, this is true on many levels. Of course, as there's no duality, both sides are correct. But many law of assumption and law of attraction coaches will say, no, you do not get out of your comfort zone, because feeling good is what it's all about. And when you feel good, you're in resonance with the frequency of your desire. So therefore, getting out of your comfort zone is counterproductive. We are going to go over this in great detail in this video, so you won't want to miss that. Please hit the subscribe button and like our videos on our channel so that we can get this information out to as many people as possible. It's the way we get the algorithm on our side, and it's the way we get more viewers and we're able to touch more lives. Thank you very much for subscribing. So, getting right into this. The comfort zone. First of all, what is the comfort zone? And then we'll understand why people say that we must leave it, and why there's an apparent dichotomy here, where of course there's no dichotomy. Well, a comfort zone is a habitual state held in place by momentum. And the concept of momentum here is very important. Joe Dispenza talks about this, as does Abraham Hicks. When you're in a state, actually this is a good thing, because this momentum is actually what gets us to be able to persist in the state of our wish fulfilled, gets those circumstances to us, and continues to have those circumstances surround us based on the focus and based on the momentum. Of course, unfortunately, many of us, due to lack of awareness of this material, or due to lack of observation of our thoughts and feelings, have done a lot of this by default. Also, with every new creation, as Neville Goddard talks about, there is introduced another unbalancing set of circumstances, which basically creates imperfections in other areas, and then we have to go again with our focus and our imagination and create the solution to that, create the synthesis, and so on and so forth, to this disequilibrium. This is, of course, the very nature of creation. Is why we came, ladies and gentlemen, because if we could attain some sort of theoretical state of perfection in this experience, that would mean that we would not be alive, and there are many arguments for that, and I did talk about this in previous videos. So it's momentum. So the main point is, the comfort zone itself is not a bogeyman. We don't have to simply get out of a comfort zone just for a principle of that, because the comfort zone is neither good nor bad. The ultimate issue of this is that it's neither good or bad because there's no duality, but it can be on or off your path. And how do we determine whether it's on or off our path? Very simple. That gauge which was given to us to determine whether or not we're on our path, to determine whether or not we're going in the correct direction or the incorrect direction in the physical. And of course, this doesn't even hold true. This is simply a verbal representation of it, but it is our emotional guidance system. So how do we know if we're in a rut, so to speak, or simply in the zone of joy? That is how we feel when we interact with that comfort zone, whether we think about it or whether we realize that we're taking some of the actions or being pulled into some of the modalities that are in that comfort zone. If it feels good and it makes you feel alive, that means that that's serving you. If it feels bad or boring or you feel stuck or any sort of negative emotion, that means that comfort zone is no longer serving you. I have a secret for you, ladies and gentlemen. A state is not going to satisfy you for very long. That's right. And that's why it's a very good thing that, as in the biblical injunction, Jesus was reported to have said, in my Father's house there are many mansions. It's a good thing that there are many mansions. It's a good thing that there are an eternal number of states, because we're not satisfied as creators, as manifestors, being in any state for very long. And any state will become a comfort zone after a while. And it's up to you to determine the balance of that by your mix of feelings, by your mix of thoughts and emotions. And what we teach you to do in this channel is to observe that, to observe the emotions, and indeed to observe the observer. So, and this goes into philosophical aspects. Now, a lot of people associate comfort with a lot of people associate comfort with the good and with physical ease and so on and so forth. But this is basically due to evolutionary biology, where we have the instinct to minimize the amount of energy expended and to maximize the resources. But you will be able to tell whether this is positive or negative, again, not by the physical feeling, but by the emotional resonance with that. And it goes into what the Stoics taught about, and the main battle between the Stoics and Epicureans. I believe this was mostly verbal as well, but there's a grain of truth in that argument, is that the Epicureans held pleasure to be the highest good. And of course, I think the way that the Stoics interpreted Epicurean pleasure was very two-dimensional, and it didn't get at the essence of the truth of that. And that's why even people like Seneca utilized quotes from the Epicureans and so on, because he saw the resonance there. But according to the Stoic caricature that we see here, the Stoics said that pleasure could not be the ultimate good, and this is true, because pleasure has an opposite. So there's pleasure and pain. Notice this pattern of duality and so on. Whereas the Stoics said, no, virtue is the highest good, and the byproduct of that is joy. And even some said joy is the highest good. And joy has no opposite. Krishnamurti taught about this, ladies and gentlemen. It goes into the essence of what we teach on this channel about non-duality, because even the whole world of manifestation, even law of attraction, and to some extent law of assumption, assumes duality. And that's all fine and well and good in the game. But what you always have to have in the back of your mind is that there is no duality. Therefore, you can constantly be in a state of joy, and joy is your essence and your existence, so it has no opposite. So that means even when you have a negative emotion, the moment you observe that as a feeling, and remember, we separate thoughts and feelings in this course, the moment you observe the structure of that feeling in your body, you bring love and joy to that, and then it is transmuted like alchemy. That physical sensation goes away, and what is there, what's remaining there, is what you are, is joy. The point of this is that joy is the main aspect to seek, not pleasure. Pleasure can be applied with joy and enjoyed, but one must realize that that is not the main goal. Or as Neville Goddard talks about, your main objective is not the consequences surrounding that state. It is rather being in the state itself, being that which you want to be, not having. Because having will come with being, but if you have, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are. And we'll get more into that. But this goes a lot into habits, and it goes a lot into momentum. It goes a lot into what the great Joe Dispenza talks about, addiction. He talks about the fact that we get addicted to a certain amount of chemicals being released in our body to a certain negative feeling. That's why usually when you begin to meditate and you begin to actually become that person that you want to be, you begin to embody that state, your body in the beginning sometimes rebels, and there's turmoil there because the body's saying, hey, wait a minute, we spent in some cases years getting used to this mix of chemicals that is being released by your thoughts and so on and so forth to support the person that you were, for whatever reason, getting into the groove of being. And now you want to change that? Well, no. So we're going to start sending signals to the brain, and you're going to have thoughts that are very difficult to perceive, and then those are going to release the same chemicals, and so on and so forth. Well, how do you get through that? The main point is, if it feels bad, it's not serving you. If you feel anywhere from a low-grade boredom to fear or anxiety, that comfort zone is not serving you. Now, here's the good news about this. Once you realize that your comfort zone is not serving you, you don't have to get out of your comfort zone, and we would not recommend that you do that. That's the main key here. You don't have to change your comfort zone. In fact, as Abraham Hicks says, expand your comfort zone. And we can go more into this. Because many great business teachers and authors, and even to a certain extent the great book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. We recommend that our audience read Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway because it's a great book and has great tools. And sometimes this serves you. But the main point of all of this is that you need to feel the fear and you need to get out of your comfort zone. Well, there's an easier way, because on our channel we don't teach effort, whether interior or exterior. Sure, you can change beliefs, and sure, you can have repetition and so on and so forth, and train your mind to a certain outcome. Indeed, it's a lot of what we do in mental rehearsal. But there's nothing you have to do. You will come out of that comfort zone, and in order to get into your new state, it necessitates that you leave that comfort zone. But here's the main crux of this. Just because, and this goes into, by the way, faith and belief, and it goes into why a lot of spiritual teachers and law of assumption, law of attraction coaches talk about, well, you have to change beliefs so that you believe it, and then when you believe it, you'll see it, which is absolutely true. But I think what they don't make clear enough is, even belief itself is on the path to that. And once you are in your state, and once you persist in your state, all of the elements of the path are included in that. It's like a mustard seed. Your desire is like a mustard seed. And as the great expositors of Scripture talk about, the faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains, as Jesus said. That doesn't mean that that faith is small. What this means is that everything... Let's say you're planting a tree and you have the seed of a tree. Well, every aspect of that tree and its growth and maintenance and so on is included within that tiny seed. Therefore, your seed of desire, if you will let it go and let it flower and let it grow, all of the requirements are included in that seed. That means you don't have to do anything. And here's very important. It means that you don't have to do it now. You will do it. For example, you will have the faith and the belief. And you will come out of your comfort zone. But it's not required that you do it now. And what is the only time that exists? Now. Therefore, nothing is required. No action is required, although much action will be inspired. So you don't have to go and think, I have to get out of my comfort zone. Because this is, first of all, self-defeating anyway. Because if you believe that you have to do something, you're going to have a lot of resistance to doing it. Rather, if you just say, I'm going to get into my state, and then I'm going to allow all of the circumstances to unfold and to happen, this is a much healthier modality. And automatically, you're training your body to that set of experiences and eventually feelings and beliefs that will get you to your new state. Now, Joe Dispenza goes into great meditations for training yourself to change. And it's fun to do this. In fact, I'd recommend that people do this with very important aspects of their lives. For example, if you want to start a business, or if you want to get into better physical shape, what Joe Dispenza recommends that you do is that you just start looking at your thoughts around those aspects, listing those, and then memorizing those negative thoughts. That way that you can train your body when you have them to say, no, change. And this is beautiful. We recommend a certain mix of this in our methodologies. But there's an easier way, and it need not be so difficult. It need not be so hands-on. So what do we recommend? We, of course, as always, recommend that you get into the state. And there are many ways of attaining resonance with the state. First of all, if you're in a comfort zone that doesn't feel good, any time you have a negative emotion, there's an immediate desire generated on the other side of that. And that's put into your vortex. It's put into your vibrational escrow. Oftentimes you won't know the specific desires that are involved with that. And many times all you need to do is simply have that negative experience, then immediately realign with good feeling thoughts. Find any way that you can to feel good, and then you'll be on resonance with that frequency of your desire. It doesn't always happen that way because sometimes the momentum of our negative emotions is so great that it keeps us in those negative emotions. In that arena, then you have to start forgetting about feelings. You have to, as this book by Mark Manson says, or one of these psychologists says, F feelings. You have to realize that feelings don't have anything to do with your state. That's right. And we explain this in other videos, because once you get into that state, the feelings and emotions of being in that state will automatically come with mental rehearsal, and then you'll be in a good momentum, and then you can start taking action on getting into those good feelings. Of course, you can go as general or specific as the situation will allow. And like the people that view our channel want to be more specific. We're business people. We're hands in the clay. So we try to get specific. We try to journal. We try to figure out exactly what it is that we want. And then we get into that state and we allow it to come to us, also while taking steps in the physical that we feel inspired to. So get into state. Find when you're in that rut or you see yourself in that comfort zone, start thinking about things that feel a little bit better and start trying to feel a little bit better. We recommend that when you wake up, you feel as good as you can, because if you start early in the morning, you'll be able to get on that wave of what we call flow, and then there's no effort in this. Now, and like we said, if you're stuck, then forget about feelings. Persist in the state of what it is that you want to fulfill. Now, there's some cases of stuckness that actually keep pulling you down into a negative momentum. It could be a negative comfort zone. It could be this addiction to negative feelings. Then there's another aspect that you could do, because you realize there's no duality. So any action you take is going to be the right action. And any action that you take is going to be on your path, because no matter if it's 180 degrees away from your path, you're going to get more feedback on that. And if it feels bad enough, ladies and gentlemen, you'll turn around. So you cannot fail at this. Once you realize that, you can start taking action that will get the pendulums, or will get this energy pool of this comfort zone off guard. For example, you can go do something that seems random, but it's a very quick step that will throw your comfort zone out of alignment. Like, for example, you're in a comfort zone now of not starting your business. You just keep reading about it and you keep thinking about it. Well, let's say it's a restaurant, right? If you've been thinking about a restaurant, it's so-called procrastinating, even though procrastination itself is not a bad thing if you're not energetically aligned. But the comfort zone and the momentum is just keeping you from taking a step. If you just got in your car and said, screw this, and go and buy some restaurant equipment and start cooking some meals, this is a step that most likely would shake up the comfort zone. And sometimes in order to get out of the old vibration, you have to shake up the vibration and then see where it lands. And in a lot of cases, it will land you in a better vibration. That's all you need to do. So this is how you get out of a comfort zone, ladies and gentlemen, that's not serving you. Remember, comfort is neither good nor bad. The weightlifter, for example, feels great while he's executing his art, while the person who's lazy in bed, and that should feel good, but knows that he could be doing something better, knows that he could be pursuing his art, his calling, and does not do that, he's going to emotionally feel bad. So it's all about how you feel about the comfort at the moment. And remember, living completely in the present moment, no habit, no momentum, or no zone can keep you in it, because there is no zone when you're living completely in the present moment. So go as general as you can, try to feel good, get into state and keep mentally rehearsing that, and just be in the present moment and enjoy the journey. Nothing's that serious, ladies and gentlemen, and you are going to get what you want on the physical. It's a promise, it's for sure, and the opposite cannot happen. All you need to ask yourself is, do I want to enjoy the path to it, or do I want to have a boring or miserable path? The answer is up to you, ladies and gentlemen. So, thanks for watching. I do have coaching calls where I take you hand in hand in implementing these modalities and methodologies for rapid lifestyle transformation. Send me an email if it sounds like something that can help you, and I will put that in the description. So, until very soon, until tomorrow, this is Javier with The Real Javier Novoa. With much love and appreciation, I'll see you soon.